All right. Hey, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, brothers, sisters, friends, enemies, and frenemies. This content is made for Men of Destiny by one of the people who's a member of our Discord chat group. Asks for a reaction to this Christian content creator who does dating advice. Look, I'm going to start curtailing information on the Men of Destiny channel specifically directed towards men and specifically warning men against following either the toxic red pill vitriol or the dating advice of people like Fresh and Fit or some of these other dating gurus. And now we have to look at a Christian dating guru. All right. There's a lot of people out there who are taking advantage of young men, giving them their version of masculinity. And in this case, we have an individual who claims to be a Christian giving Christian dating advice. Let me look at the title of this real quick. 5 signs a woman is interested in you. All right. That's what we're reacting to. 5 signs a woman is interested in you. This content creator's name is, I got to put on my glasses to read it, Brayden Steckler. All right. He's a small channel, 13,900 subscribers. I don't know how many videos he's posted or anything, but let's listen to Brayden Steckler's version of knowing if a woman is interested in you.
If you're tired of trying to second guess to figure out if the girl that you have a crush on actually likes you back, then you just clicked on the perfect video. Because today, I'm going to be telling you 5 signs that a girl is in fact interested in you. And I'm not here to waste your time. Let's get right into it. Sign number 1 is this girl is going to ask you what your type is. Randomly, you guys are going to be in conversation and she's going to start to ask you about your dating life. And she's gonna say,
you know what, Johnny, like, what is your type? Like, what kind of girls are you interested in anyway?
And obviously, the reason she's asking you this question is because she's interested in you. But a lot of guys have absolutely zero social intelligence, and this blows right over their head. So next time a girl asks you what your type is or who you're interested in, I want that to be an automatic light bulb that should go off in your head to say,
man, this girl likes me, and she wants to get to know me better because she's interested in me.
Now, here's a dark psychology trick that's probably not Christian at all.
Okay, before we get into the dark psychology trick, this person does not provide you with what your answer would be. So it's more important for you to know what an answer to a question is than to know that a question is coming and what it even means. What's your answer going to be, fellas? If you have even thought this out, if you are a Christian, what should your answer be? Drop a comment. Let me know. Let me know what your answer is to that question, because there's a biblical answer for that question. I'm not going to give it to you. I'm going to let you drop it in the comment section. But listen to what he says after this. And this tells you that this is a huge red flag of what this young man is doing. Listen to what he says.
Because she's interested in me.
Now, here's a dark psychology trick that's
okay, right there. This is another huge red flag. He's going to teach you a dark psychology trick. So we're talking about moving as men of God or as Christian men in a way that is manipulative. That there's 2 red flags going off here. He didn't give you an answer to the question, didn't give you the biblical answer to the question. And I'm not either, because I want you to answer it in the comment section. Let's have a little dialogue about that. But right now, he's giving you a tactic to be manipulative.
probably not Christian at all. I like to use.
He even tells you it's not Christian, and it isn't. It isn't.
Whenever a girl asks me what my type is, I will look at her, I will observe her. Is she blonde? Is she brunette? What's the color of her eyes? And depending on the way that she looks, I will tell her that I'm interested in the exact opposite body type, hair color, eye color that she is. And I'm not saying that this is biblical or correct. I don't actually mean any harm by it.
What are you getting? I don't want to say vibe, but are you getting? Is there anything spiritual happening right now? Is there any discernment kicking off in here? He says he knows it's not Christian.
And I'm not saying that this is biblical or correct. I don't actually mean any harm by it, but the reason it's funny is because if I look at a girl and she's blonde and she's asking me what my type is, and I know that she's interested in me, I'm gonna look at her and say,
You know what? I really have a soft spot in my heart for brunettes.
and the reason that I'm doing this is because subconsciously, this girl is gonna feel a need to win over my approval. Because if she's blonde and I say I like brunettes, she's gonna think to herself,
Why doesn't he?
I don't know if you ever heard this term. It's not, I don't think it's really thrown around out there too much. It's called reverse psychology. And there's also something that is called fear of missing out. So in other words, if you tell her the opposite of what it's playing upon her weaknesses, okay? And as Christian men, the last thing we should be doing if a person were interested in us or you is being manipulative and playing on a woman's weakness. It's the ultimate display of anti-Christian.
He like blondes? Like, what's wrong with blondes? Why does he like brunettes? Oh my gosh.
and she's gonna be thinking about me all the time. And she's constantly gonna be trying to say,
I'm better. I gotta do more for him because if I do more for him, then I can win over his approval and his validation, and then he might like me.
and it's gonna put me in a position where she's constantly trying to get me to like her more instead of it being how most guys are in the dating world where they're constantly having to bend over backwards to get the girl to like him. You're automatically putting yourself on a higher level where she's trying to make you like her instead of you trying to constantly get her to like you more and, give you the validation that you want. Because if you're doing anything other than what I just described, you're in the wrong, you're screwing up. You should only be going after women that are already interested in you, not the other way around.
This is literally the mirror image of what is proposed out there from the toxic manosphere. All right. So right now, to say that you want to get her chasing you, this is going to start a cycle. This is really a way to start a very dysfunctional cycle. Now, here's something that you will not hear many people say for Christian men is I don't think you should be chasing her. I don't believe in dating. I don't believe the Bible. There's nothing in the Bible. You tell me something, show me something in the scripture that's about dating. And what it says in Titus chapter 2, younger men treat older women as mothers, treat younger women as sisters. Okay. So there's only really one thing to do when you are a man of God is treat an older woman like a mother, a woman of your same age as a sister. And if you have any type of interest in pursuing marriage, then you make that plain, you make that obvious. See, this is talking about Christian dating, which is not prescribed in the Bible.
Sign number 2 is you're gonna catch her staring at you a lot. Oftentimes, women are not just gonna walk right up to you and say,
Hey, Johnny, I think you're cute.
right? They're feminine, they're indirect. The last thing that they're gonna do is walk right up to you and tell you that they're attracted to you. And it's funny, this is kind of just the way that God made women, but it's almost like they want you to read their minds. And so as a masculine man of God or someone with somewhat sharpened social skills, you're gonna have to pick up on the subtle signs that they're attracted to you. And obviously, that they want you to approach them. And these signs are called choosing signals. For example, if a girl's attracted to you, instead of just beeline walking up to you and saying,
Hey, Johnny, I think you're hot. Here's my phone number. Please take me out on a date.
instead of doing that, she's just gonna stare at you until they put her in a grave and she dies. Like, she would literally stare at you every single day for months and months and months and years and years and years and never say anything and just hope and pray that you're gonna walk up to her. Instead of walking up,
Okay, this would be a little weird. I don't know about you, but I don't want anyone looking at me. I've got stalker vibes here. I'm getting stalker energy. If a woman is staring at me, I would happen to find it more appealing and more genuine, and someone who is safer if they glanced. If you see someone glancing, keeping an eye on you, not all having a constant eye on you. And that tells me that they're interested in looking at you, but they're not interested in they're self-aware. A woman who is every time you look at her, she's stone cold staring at you. She is not self-aware. She does not know she's giving off stalker vibes. This also goes for a dude. This deserves a confrontation. This might deserve a police report, y'all.
to you and risking the idea of possibly being rejected by you. Like, the last thing that a woman wants to happen is to get rejected. It would literally destroy her. So she's not gonna take the risk of getting rejected by you. Instead, she's just gonna stare at you and she's gonna hope that you walk up to her. And that's literally how women are. So what you need to do is you need to be aware of your surroundings. Regardless of where you are, just pick up on all the women that are around you. And I know a lot of guys do this anyway, but look around and see if there's any girls that are staring at you. What I want you to do is, if you notice a girl is staring at you, stare back at
her. Okay. I think everybody should be situationally aware, but this is also sounds predatory. You know, this sounds unnatural. It sounds like you're not allowing something to happen naturally. Have situational awareness. Be aware of everything and everyone in your environment, but don't constantly be scanning for women. This is desperation. This is the opposite of being mature in Christ. There should literally be videos made, and we're probably going to get into that on this channel, about who you need to be before you need to worry about a woman. That's more important. That's the most important thing. Who do you need to be before you even think about seeing a woman with a serious relationship mindset? And this, again, this is dating information. This is not courting information. This can lead to taking you into sin, okay?
at her. Whenever you make eye contact with her, she's gonna look away. And instead of you looking away too, and you're like,
oh, I'm lifting my weights again.
I want you to just keep staring at her, even though she looked away. And if she's interested in you, what I promise you she's going to do is she's gonna look back at you. And this is kind of funny because it's almost like without speaking or saying any words, you're both acknowledging that you caught her looking at you, and you can just smile. Smile, maybe wave at her, like make it playful, make it a joke. And after you have a little fun, playful, whatever, I want you to grab your balls and walk up to her and introduce yourself.
I'm gonna have to do it. That right there is
flag on the plate.
Red flag material, man. You're a young guy, you claim to be a Christian, you claim to be giving dating advice to Christians, but you tell them to grab themselves and go over there. Talk like a Christian. Don't talk like the world. See, you're out here definitely coming from a worldly point of view, and you're acting in a worldly way. You're not helping any men out by doing this.
Have a little fun, playful, whatever. I want you to grab your balls and walk up to her and introduce yourself, because that girl is interested in you and she's begging you to walk up and talk to her. And that's exactly what I want you to do. Sign number 3 is she's gonna place herself near you or in your general vicinity. And this happens all the time. It doesn't matter where you are. You could be at the gym, you could be at school, you could be at the library, you could be in the grocery store, you could be at church. If a woman is attracted to you, she's going to put her...
Okay, now, he's meaning this can happen in any of those places. But if you start seeing this woman showing up at all these different places, again, you're talking stalker here, dude. You might be talking about a stalker. They really do exist. If you haven't heard of Jodi Arias or any women who have actually been femme fatales, warning, warning. So he's not talking about that. That's something to definitely have a red flag. If everywhere you're at, she starts showing up there.
Her body, her physical body, near you in hopes that you're gonna say,
Hey, what's your name? Or you're gonna start a conversation.
and this is crucial, so many guys miss this. I want you to keep in mind, whenever you go to the gym, and maybe there's a girl you're attracted to, a girl that you have a crush on, see where she places herself in your environment. Does she consistently end up right next to you? Like, for example, could you be lifting weights, maybe you're doing a bench press, and then all of a sudden, that girl that you're interested in just appears right next to you at the bench, right by you. She doesn't look at you, she doesn't say anything, but she's very close to you. Maybe you get up and you go and do something else. Maybe you're doing like pull-ups or something and you go far away from her, and then 10 minutes later, you look up and she's by you again. She's like, maybe she's just pretending to do the same workout that you're doing in hopes that you're gonna talk to her. I want you to realize that's exactly what she's doing. She's not hitting chest and arms just like you, dummy. She wants you to talk to her. So once again, if that's happening to you, grab your sack and say hello, because I promise you,
I'm going to have to elevate this from red flag.
Flag on the plate.
Stop talking to Christian men like that. Shut your channel down if you're not going to get some control of your vocabulary. If you couldn't say it before her, and it wouldn't be gentlemanly to say it before her, why are you out here on the social media streets telling men to do that with that vocabulary?
She's begging you to talk to her. Sign number 4, she wants to know more about you. One thing that a lot of guys don't realize is if a girl's not interested in you and you start a conversation with her, she is not going to do any heavy lifting or any legwork to keep that conversation going. But if a girl is interested in you, she's going to ask you a lot of questions. Most importantly, she's not going to let the conversation die out. She's going to do a lot of work to keep the conversation going. She's going to ask you, like I said, a ton of questions. And the reason that she's doing this is because she wants to know if you're a good fit for dating or potentially getting married. If she's a good girl, if she's the kind of woman that you should be going after, who's godly, who's feminine, who could be a good mother one day, she's going to be vetting you. She's going to be trying to figure out if you're husband material in the same way that you need to be figuring out if she's wifey material. Women do not want to know more about a guy that they're not interested in. So if she's asking you a lot of questions and she's keeping the conversation going and she's super engaged and she's holding good eye contact with you throughout the entire conversation, then that is a great sign that she likes you and you need to grab your ball sack and ask her out. Now the 5th and final sign.
Okay, I don't know why this young man, Brayden, is acting. Are you over 18? Are you 13? Are you 12? Are you a toddler? I implore you to read Ephesians chapter 4 prior to giving advice to young Christian men. Stop yourself. You're doing too much. You're acting just like the world. Let's hear it again. I would this young boy needs a father because this is not masculine. This is not a man.
Holding good eye contact with you throughout the entire conversation, then that is a great sign that she likes you and you need to grab your ball sack and ask her out. Now the 5th and
okay, so the advice as far as is she showing these signs of interest? Is she working on keeping the conversation going? Those are good signs that a person is interested in you. For a woman to ask you and be interested, and it's a good sign to her if you're asking questions about her. This would apply. So the first thing that he had said, there was actually some decent advice. In other words, read the room. Are you overly trying? Are you trying to talk to someone with complete disinterest? Then shut it down. If this person is not interested and you got to keep putting on an act, you got to play a role of a comedian, or you have to play the role of a tough guy, or you have to raise your voice to get her attention, stop yourself. Stop yourself. Stay in your lane and leave it alone. Shut it down. That was a good bit of information, again, corrupted by this young man's foul mouth.
final sign that I bet you've never heard before is whenever she follows you on social media right after you meet her. And this is key. This has happened to me so many times where I meet a girl at church or I meet a girl at the gym or whatever. We have a good conversation. The conversation flows well. We're asking each other questions. I can tell that she likes me somewhat. I'm interested in her if I'm having a deep conversation with her. Oftentimes, I'm not the kind of guy who's immediately gonna ask,
What's your phone number? What's your Instagram?
I don't ever do that. Like, I'm just planting seeds. I'm just trying to see, is there good chemistry here? And then, if it goes well and I can.
Okay, now the chemistry usually, as far as especially young man, has a little bit of something to do with sexuality or familiarity. So I implore you, as an older brother in the Lord, to a younger, even man or woman, beware of chemistry. The Word of God doesn't tell us to be led by chemistry, or those who are just shall live by chemistry. The Bible says, those who are led by the Spirit, those are the children of God, and the just shall live by faith, not by chemistry. Chemistry is a bad vibe, a bad spirit, a bad signal. I don't mean to use the word vibe, but that is a warning sign. A lot of people find themselves in the worst situations because they were led by chemistry. You don't want to make these decisions based on chemistry. You don't want to actually have nothing going on. You want to have some kind of feeling, but beware of chemistry.
trying to see, is there good chemistry here? And then, if it goes well and I continue to see her, then if I can tell the feelings are mutual, then I'll ask for a phone number. But I normally don't do that immediately after meeting someone. So I'll, go away, off to my own world, my own business. And whenever a girl is interested in me, 9 times or 10 times out of 10, I'll get a notification on my phone if she has social media, and it'll say, Sally followed you on Instagram. And every single time that's happened, the girl was interested in me. And once again, it goes back to the fact that women are not direct. She's not gonna ask me for my number whenever we first meet. Instead, she's gonna keep it a little bit more indirect. She's just gonna follow me on Instagram because
That's basically true, and that's a good thing. I mean, it's a good thing for femininity that they're not completely reaching out to you, that they're not being masculine. I would be more averse and more put off by a woman who is overly direct. So a lot of times a feminine woman and a woman who does fear rejection, probably more than men do, in many cases, she doesn't want to get that sense of rejection. He was right about that, but as well as women getting rejected, men don't want to get rejected either.
at least she doesn't really face rejection. Obviously, I could not follow her back, which would probably crush her. She's gonna keep it indirect. She's not gonna ask for your phone number. She's not gonna tell you that she's super attracted to you whenever she first meets you. Instead, she's just gonna follow you on social media. And if you see that notification, the first thing you should do, accept her follow request, follow her back if you think she's hot and you're interested in dating her, and send her a message and say, hey, it was...
Wait a minute. And look at what this man's advice is on whether you're going to follow her back or respond or not.
She's just going to follow you on social media. And if you see that notification, the first thing you should do, accept her follow request, follow her back if you think she's hot and you're interested in dating.
I implore you again, this is what is this attraction factor? It goes back to question 1 that he didn't answer. What are you looking for? Okay. If you're looking for a woman solely based on the outward appearance, you're probably going to find the worst possible problem for you. Again, this man has not dealt with anything. He's shown very poor character, and he's brought up nothing about godly character. He's displayed ungodly character, and he's brought up no advice on the godly character of a woman to look for that would even cause you to want to pursue her romantically for the prospect of marriage. He's really taken a lot of secular dating guru advice tips and tried to Christianize them.
Dating her and send her a message and say, hey, it was great meeting you. Had a good time about whatever, insert whatever you guys talked about. Looking forward to seeing you again soon. And keep it at that. Like I said, she's going to be interested. She's going to keep the conversation going. And next time you see her in real life, you can ask her out on a date. And just keep the texting to a minimal level, obviously.
Again, that's common dating coach guru material right there. Keep the texting to a minimum. And it is also good advice, though, because if you begin a relationship with somebody over text, where is the magnetism? Then you begin becoming someone's text buddy instead of actually seeing them in person. We're in this age where people are more accustomed to relating to one another digitally than they are physically. Again, you're not going to actually have a genuine relationship with anybody, be it a friendship between a man and a woman or a brother, that if it doesn't actually ever materialize physically, you're just virtual friends. So keeping the texting to a minimum with a girl, it's actually standard dating advice in the social guru sphere, but it's good advice because you don't want her to not see you. You actually want to see her. So keep the texting brief and casual and try to wait for that opportunity to make the first time that you can actually see each other in person if you're interested. And again, if you're interested in friendship only, that's another thing. And that's what all you should be interested in, unless you are the man prepared for a wife. And if you're not prepared, you can throw all this advice out the window.
Phone is for setting appointments. It's not for getting to know every little detail about the person unless you do a phone call. Keep all that for the in-person interactions. Please, do yourself a favor. If you want to learn more about how to improve your dating life as a godly Christian man, I want you to go ahead and click on this video.
I don't think that this young Brayden is the individual that any young Christian man wants to have giving them advice. Avoid dating information guru tips from the professional dating counselors, the alpha male community, the MGTOW, the Fresh and Fits, the wait, what's that one? Oh, the Andrew Tates and the Sneakos and all these essentially male predators giving young men advice. Now, I responded to this one because, like I said, somebody sent this to me, and it was particularly allegedly for Christian men, but it wasn't addressed to Christianity whatsoever. This was kind of ungodly, if you ask me. Well, this is Brother Rob Wilson. Please like, subscribe, share if you care. I'm going to drop some just straight shot videos with very little editing on some things. That's how I want to roll in the future on this channel, just so I can begin making content, especially and specifically for men's issues over here and alerting men to some extremely bad advice. Grace and peace. Until next time. Amen.